everybody, turn on TG3 here. Pokémonster Horizons. Episodes 92 and 93. Episode 92 is titled Follow the Raccoon Signs. Episode 93 is titled A Super Stand, a Nidothing Fan Battle. I'm gonna go ahead and review these two episodes at the same time, mostly because they still follow like the central theme of just these are not important episodes. They're important to the plot, yes, but they're not like major episodes. Like you can kind of put anything in this plot and just sort of. So filler in Horizons is weird because it's all connected. Every episode is intertwined and connected in some way, and some characters even get revisited again in Pokemon Horizons. I think when it comes to Pokemon Horizons filler versus like regular Pokemon filler, you need to note that I guess it follows the flow, the ebbs and flows of a Horizon episode. But you could put anything in its spot and it could still be suggested. And these two episodes, they follow the finite theme of find Pokemon that has a Raccoon sign to it. It starts to act crazy in the wild, starts to fight. The others fight against it. They defeat it. They calm it down. The end. And if it's not that, then it's one of those episodes where they meet so-and-so character. So-and-so character has themed Pokemon. One of our characters challenges said trainer to battle. Said character battles them. It comes close. Main character wins. Main character changes their opinion about themselves based on how they battled the trainer of the day, and thus we move on. So it moves into like that little flow where it's not really considered filler, but it's very formulaic. It's formulaic canon, which doesn't make much sense, but I'm hoping that maybe that term can catch on and we have ourselves a formulaic canon episode. Because none of it's really filler in the sense. It's mostly just, hey, this is a placeholder episode that clearly is holding off major things, such as Team Explorers, such as any of the major characters that are in the series, such as an important character being introduced or reintroduced into the series. That's not to say that these characters aren't important, it's just to say it's very clear these events are mostly just supposed to fill the gap of space between one major plot point and the next. With that being said, I want to go ahead and tackle these two episodes. Find the Raccoon Signs, or Lacoum Signs if you're in America, basically follows the fact that Ult is following Roy and they're trying to get the Rising Volt Tacklers back together so that they can report back on all these Pokemon that have been infected with the Raccoon energy. Now, during this, obviously, we see that Ult is sneaking behind and doesn't really know about Liko yet. So when he finally does see Liko, he's more curious about things. But then we learn that the Steelixes are causing trouble. The Steelixes are causing trouble in the canyon because they're infected by the Raccoon signs. So because of that, they end up attacking a lot of the things in that area. When they do that, we see that Ult ends up helping them by evolving his Sableye into Mega Sableye, while Roy evolves his Lucario into Mega Lucario. We still have no real, origin story on this Lucario, so whenever I see this thing, it just sort of sticks out like a sore thumb, especially when you consider the fact that Pokemon Horizons is well known for giving Pokemon some humble beginnings as to how they became a part of the team. Obviously, we'll get some flashback later as it goes as to how Roy got the Lucario, but as of now, he, out of all the Pokemon that exist, this one looks the most fish out of water Pokemon out of all of them. Either way, this episode more or less is a cut and dry, and mostly literally it's just them fighting against one Steelix, and then another Steelix shows up, making the battle harder, and thus Ult shows up, and he basically helps them out, and that's pretty much how we get to our situation. It literally is like a cut and dry episode, and I'm sorry that there's not a lot going for this, but I will be saying this, as of the time of recording this at least, several Pokemon Horizons episodes episodes have passed at this point, and we're well at the 101 episodes. I think we officially passed the 100 mark of Pokemon Horizons. So you'll be seeing a lot of reviews to make up for the episodes that I didn't get to do back then, and that was mostly due to work conflicts. But out of all of them, this will probably be the shortest review, because even if we move on to the next episode, which is episode 93, a Super Stan, a Nidothing fan battle. Essentially, Roy and Liko leave Oak behind and keep traveling, and they end up getting news from Super Nidothing's fan, or whatever her name is, a Nebby fan. She's a Nebby fan, but she's a fan of Nidothing's series, but her username is Super Nebby fan, which translates, I guess, to Super Litten fan. So when that ends up happening, she introduces herself to Liko, but then they finds out that Liko is the Sprigatito fan username, and they end up battling against each other. And it's also due to the fact that Liko is a part of the Rising Voltacklers, which Roy openly announces, which unfortunately winds up getting the Litten fan angry. So the two end up battling each other, with Litten fan using an Incineroar and Liko using Meowscarada. Now, in this battle, clearly Meowscarada has a type disadvantage, but Liko does thankfully know how to use her flower gift moves really well, and thus Incineroar winds up getting blown up in its own Dark Lariat attack, which I thought was a pretty decent way to do this battle. My main issue, and I've said this before, not just with this Pokemon series, but with Sun and Moon, and even Best Wishes before X and Y, and Journeys, is that we've been through Sun and Moon, Journeys, and Horizons at this point, and battle animations still aren't on par with X and Y. That's my biggest issue, because I think this battle could have looked so cool if they were using the X and Y camera and animations, but sadly we're still using this like budgeted animation, and I'm like, and my brain constantly tries to wonder, why exactly did X and Y make a bunch of battles really? Now, were all of X and Y's battles animations like super good? No, you had some occasional battles that looked like but those were so far and few between. Most battles in Pokemon X and Y, for the most part, looked really, really, really good. Even basic battles like Froakie against Fletchling, a fight where literally Ash is just catching a simple small bird Pokemon, wound up looking like a visual spectacle for some reason. Even battles he did with like trainers that only appeared for like that episode, like when Ash was doing the Battle Chateau, he did that, and that battle looked way better. Or even battles that aren't involving the main character, like Viola Surskit versus Onyx versus Grant Onyx. Like a battle like that for no reason looks really good, and it's like that was consistent throughout everything. Meanwhile, we have this battle against Incineroar fighting off against Meowscarada that realistically takes up most of the episode. Like this battle takes up a chunk of the episode, yet for some reason it looks aight. It's aight. Like, it feels to me like I just want to know what the budget and the animation / art strategy was in X and Y that caused for this to happen. Because I want to say I like this battle due to Liko's planning with the flower gift thing, but that's like the only highlight of the fight. Everything after that just becomes horrifically underwhelming, and that's what upsets me the most. The battle does end, and Liko wins. Well, technically the battle doesn't have a conclusion. Super Nebby fan or Super Litten fan tells Incineroar to stop the fight. And in the middle of it, it's because she was impressed by how Liko was fighting with Meowscarada. Based on their battle style, she's able to basically confirm that they're telling the truth about Team Explorers, about Exceeds, and about the Rising Voltacklers. So at that point, she becomes a supporter of the Rising Voltacklers. And that follows the theme of the opening, which is basically to get back. They're getting back the truth of the Rising Voltacklers. Ergo, this means that while they're not fighting off against Pokemon that are infected with Raccoon, then they're convincing others that the Rising Voltaclers are good. So while they fight off against random trainers, it's very clear that they're influencing those trainers to see things in a more positive light. Eventually, they're spreading a counter rumor to stop the already made false rumor, which is fair. That makes sense because the Rising Voltaclers sadly have a bad rep with everybody due to the Exceeds lying about them. So it makes sense. So overall, the battle ends, and after the battle ends, it seems that Alt was in the area and he upset a lot of flying-based Pokemon or bird Pokemon. Because of that, Super Litten fans' further explanations of what's going on are confirmed when she sees that Terapagos and Masquerada and Roy's Pokemon, all of them are singing and dancing to calm the bird Pokemon down. Once all of those things get confirmed now, Alt joins with Roy and Liko as they further try to not only A, confirm the truths about the Rising Voltaclers, but B, find out more information about Pokemon infected with Raccoon energy. The episode basically ends there. It's a cut and dry. If I had to rate both episodes, honestly, I'm gonna give them about a 5 out of 10. They're basically pretty average at best. It's also confirmed that Nito, the Super Litten fan, was lying about the information that she had about Black Rayquaza. She only did that so she could get close to Nidothing and talk with her because she thought that Nidothing was going to meet her directly and not send Liko to do the job for her. After that, though, all these things are cleared up and they continue their journey, and that's basically how we ended. Like I said, 5 out of 10. It's not too crazy. I did laugh a bit, though, at the lie at the end of it, because I kind of already saw this information coming. It's very obvious, because it seems like something that in real life an online internet fan would do in order to get attention from a high celebrity-based internet persona. So it's relatable, if nothing else. And I'll give the episode 93 a 6 out of 10, just due to the fact that I did like it a little bit more because of the battle itself, and we get to see how much Liko's progressed as a trainer. So there you go, 6 out of 10. But it does lead us to our next episode, which is episode 94, and that episode is titled The Pokemon Center Lady, which obviously we all know what that entails. So I will see y'all then, everybody. Thank you all so much, and tune in for some further reviews later on down the line. Tyrone TG3 out.